Hi guys, in CWQ here. Today is 2/19/2024 and the time is 9:09 a.m. I do have y'all looking at Google Earth and at the 1.8 earthquake that was here in North Carolina yesterday. And as y'all can see, this is the Penrose Vulcan Mining Company here. And I've been doing a little bit of research today. Hang on one second. And did find out some things. We had that earthquake here in North Carolina. Yes, it may have been a small 1.8, not felt by a lot of people. However, this quake occurred near the Vulcan mine. And I had been doing some looking into the Vulcan mining and have found that they have 400 facilities. They serve 22 states, including the District of Columbia, Canada, Bahamas, and the Virgin Islands. Back at one point, Vulcan Mining owned a chemical business and they sold it to Occidental Chemical Corporation, which manufactures polyvinyl chloride resins, chlorine, caustic soda, and water treatment chemicals. As far as I can tell, Occidental Chemical Corporation is part of the PFAS issue in soil and water. And that's based on the fact that there was a settlement issued by the EPA, issued AOC, which is Occidental Chemical Corporation, to implement final remedy at Occidental Chemical Company facility in West Virginia. This was on September 26, 2013. They issued an administrative order on consent under Section 3008 of Resource Conservation and Recovery Act to Occidental Chemical Company, or OxyChem, to implement a final remedy at its facility in Bellevue, West Virginia. The information about the Occidental Chemical Company is that it's wholly owned subsidiary of Occidental Petroleum is a chemical manufacturer with interests in basic chemicals, vinyls, and performance chemicals. Now, when Vulcan Mining sold its chemical corporation, it sold it to Occidental Chemical Company. So therefore, when I look at the issues with PFAS in the soil, I have to look back and wonder if Vulcan mining had something to do with the PFAS that ended up being in the soil. Now, PFAS itself is per and polyfluorinated substances. The per and polyfluorinated substances, or PFAS, are a group of chemicals used to make fluoropolymer coatings and products that resist heat, oil, stains, grease, and water. Now, these forever chemicals have been found in the soil here in North Carolina. And what PFAS does to your body, epidemiological studies have revealed associates between exposure to specific PFAS and variety of health effects, including altered immune and thyroid function, liver disease, lipid and insulin dysregulation, kidney disease, adverse reproduction, and developmental outcomes in cancer. And so far as I know, there have been several lawsuits going on because of PFAS. Um, that's why this interested me, and I started looking into Vulcan Mining Company and wondering if they played some part because they sold their company. And let me see if I can find when they sold it. um, there is a thing here, so I'm going to read you some history about Vulcan Mining Company. Vulcan Materials Company is an American based company based in Birmingham, Alabama, is principally engaged in the production, distribution, and sale of construction materials. Vulcan is the largest producer of construction materials, primarily gravel, crushed stone, and sand, and employs approximately 12,000 people at over 400 facilities, those being 22 states, the District of Columbia, Mexico, Canada, Bahamas, and Virgin Islands. Vulcan innovative Crescent Market project led to the construction of a large quarry and deepwater seaport on the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico just south of Cancun, sorry. This quarry supplies Tampa, New Orleans, Houston, Brownville, Texas, as well as other Gulf Coast seaports with crushed limestone via large 62,000-ton self-discharging ships. The history. In the late 1980s, Vulcan acquired Reed-crushed stone near Kentucky. On June 7, 2005, Vulcan completed the sale of its chemical business known as Vulcan Chemicals to Occidental Chemical Corporation. The sale of assets included Vulcan's chloralkali plants in Wichita, Kansas, Grayesmar, Louisiana, and Port Edwards, Wisconsin, as well as Vulcan Chemicals joint venture located near Geismar, Louisiana. In 2005, Vulcan acquired 11 aggregates operations and 5 asphalt plants in Arizona, Georgia, Indiana, and Tennessee. On February 19, 2007, Vulcan announced it would buy stone and cement producer Florida Rock Industries for $4.7 billion. Vulcan completed the acquisition of Florida Rock on November 16, 2007. In March 2007, Vulcan announced that it had been named to Fortune magazine's list of most admired companies for the sixth time. The company was ranked first in its industry sector, building materials glass. Overall, Vulcan ranked among the 10 companies in Fortune 1000 for both long-term investment and social responsibility. In January 2014, Vulcan Materials announced they would be selling their Florida Rock Industries cement and ready-mix concrete plants and equipment to Cementos Argos of Colombia. In March 2014, Vulcan was able to fully divest these properties to Cementos Argos. In January 2018, Vulcan Materials was found to be partially responsible for the Bayou Corn sinkhole, along with Occidental Petroleum. Now, noting that we're getting Occidental listed in here again, and Texas Brine Company. In June 2021, Vulcan Materials announced they would be acquiring U.S. Concrete for $74 per share, a 30% premium on the date of the announcement. U.S. Concrete was formed in 1999 with its headquarters in Euless, Texas. The deal is valued at $1.3 billion. The acquisition will allow for integrated expansion of Vulcan and make subsidiary debt-free with adequate working capital. The deal has been approved by both boards and will close in the second half. In early 2023, after being accused by President Andrés Manuel López Obrador of exporting materials from Mexico without a permit, the Mexican military seized a marine terminal belonging to Vulcan, leading to a diplomatic dispute between the U.S. and Mexico. So interesting stuff here. That's some history on Vulcan Mining. What I'm curious about is if they were involved, because there is a big thing about forever chemicals in the waters and in the soils here in North Carolina. And as you know, I have mentioned before that we drink a lot of bottled water based on the fact of the PFAS being in the water here. And therefore, I was sitting here just noting that we have a Vulcan mine here in North Carolina. We have PFAS in the water here and in the soil in North Carolina. And I'm wondering where it exactly is coming from. So let's look at one more thing. Um, those chemicals, PFAS, are widely used in commercial and consumer products such as food packaging. Hang on a second. Water and stain repellent fabrics, non-stick products, and firefighting foams. They are commonly used in industrial process and manufacturing. Because of their widespread use, these compounds are present in household and industrial waste, air emissions, and wastewater discharge. PFAS are often called forever chemicals because they don't break down in the environment and can build up or bioaccumulate in humans and animals. Most Americans have been exposed to PFAS, and scientists have identified ingestion through drinking water as a primary pathway for PFAS exposure in humans. Most standard municipal drinking water treatment systems are not built to filter out PFAS. Until recently, testing labs were not able to detect them at lower levels. Some PFAS can accumulate in the human body. Scientific studies have shown that exposure to certain levels of PFAS have been linked to reproductive effects such as decreased fertility or increased high blood pressure in pregnant women, development effects or delays in children, including low birth weight, accelerated puberty, bone variations or behavioral changes, increased risks of some cancers, reduced ability of the body's immune system to fight infections, including reduced vaccine response, interference with the body's natural hormones, and increased cholesterol levels or risk of obesity. And if you'd like to know, DEQ has been working with the public water systems to prepare for the proposed regulation and access PFAS levels of drinking water systems across the state. Under the DEQ action strategy for PFAS, DEQ is taking a whole of department approach to protect communities by identifying, reducing, and remediating PFAS pollution. DEQ is also utilizing federal funding under the bipartisan infrastructure law to help address PFAS contamination, including funding designed specifically for small rural and unserved communities. Some public water systems in North Carolina are currently monitoring for PFAS voluntarily. In late 2022, DEQ performed 3 months of sampling at 50 municipal and county water systems identified in the 2019 PFAS network study, with PFOA and PFOS detections above the minimum reporting level indicated by the 2022 EPA interim health advisories. Those results have been provided to water systems and are available here. DEQ is also implementing plans to sample hundreds of smaller water systems to better assess the levels of PFAS on a statewide basis. DEQ recommends that public water systems share their PFAS results with customers. Beyond public water systems, DEQ has taken a number of actions to better identify PFAS sources and reduce emissions and discharges, requiring PFAS information from new facilities and industries, developing permit conditions as appropriate throughout the state, identifying and prioritizing locations where these substances may have been manufactured, used, discharged, or disposed for additional assessment, adding permit conditions as appropriate to address PFAS, air emissions, or wastewater discharges, and require disclosure of data and additional monitoring, conducting groundwater testing and additional monitoring in areas with known PFAS contamination, requiring all solid waste sanitary landfills to include PFAS analysis of all regular groundwater, surface water, and leachate system samples. Okay, so what I want to look at is, and hang on one second. I've been trying to see if the mining companies have any issues with PFAS, because you would think that with them doing the work that they do with water there and stuff, that they would be using some kind of chemicals here. So hang on a second. See, I can't exactly say that they are responsible with mining, uh, because of the fact that I can't find anything on it, and I've been looking. However, what I do know is they sold out to a chemical company called Occidental Chemicals. And they used to have a chemical company. So therefore, it does make me wonder because now Occidental Chemical Company is part of the PFAS issue, as far as what I can read. So it makes me wonder if they were involved before they sold their company. Anyways, you guys, it's just a thought and stuff that I've been researching, looking over, and wondering about, as I do know somebody who was affected by PFAS and has a thyroid issue. Anyways, you guys, much love. God bless. And I've just been doing my research. I hope y'all have a great day.